Good evening, everybody. How are you
Good evening.
today? Good evening, Joshua. Um, great. Me present so we can start the lesson. Okay, guys. Now, let's remember what we are going to be talking about this week. So let me open Moodle. Right now, it's very lazy. But here in the November cohort drive, we can see the week number 2 right now. And we have been learning about DML. This is the class that we learned yesterday, how to insert data, how to update data, uh, remove data from the database. And the last operation was, I mean, read, insert, update, and deletion, right? Those were the operations that we learned yesterday. And today, uh, we're going to learn the different type of SQL. And this we call this kind of instructions DDL because this is for data design. Okay, so we're going to design the tables. We're going to add validations to the table using these kind of instructions. Okay, so let's start with the lesson today. And the objectives are that first, we are going to understand the purpose and the use of DDL in SQL. We're going to learn how to create and alter and drop. We're going to learn how to create, alter, and drop in SQL. Okay, this is this command that is called create. A second, something is wrong. Okay, the command create is very used. So if you want to create something new, it's not necessary that you are going to use the word create only for table creations. Now, the second command that we are going to be learning how to manage is this one. It's alter. And alter, it's very helpful if you want to modify something in the database. For example, if you want to modify the name of a column, or imagine that you want to modify a user um, inside of your database. And the last command is drop. This command helps you to remove elements from the database. We're not going to remove elements inside of the table. We're going to drop, for example, a whole table, or we can drop a user, we can drop a report. This command drop, it's very risky because you can eliminate the entire table, not the content. It's the definition of the table. Now, we're going to understand what constraints are and their importance in the database design. We're going to practice creating, modifying, and deleting tables. We're going to apply DDL commands in the real world as scenarios, okay? So first, what is DDL? The definition here is DDL is data definition language. And we are going to use this to define and manage the structure of our database. So imagine that DDL is designing the blueprint of the house, while the DML it's about to managing the furniture inside of the house. Does this make sense? DDL
Yep.
is when you're constructing the house, but when you are when you are putting content inside of the house, is when you are using the DML. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Now, let's see. Now, another command, the first command that the three commands that we are going to learn here are create, alter, and drop, right? I told you that create is use it if you want to create tables, databases, and other objects inside of the database. The alter command is very helpful if you want to modify existing database objects. And the drop command is going to help you to delete database objects, okay? We're not going to talk about the elements inside of the tables. We are going to talk about the structures that are saving our data, okay? Now, what are constraints? Constraint is the first part that you need to understand if you want to manage DDL in a correct way, okay? And the constraints, guys, are very helpful if you want to create rules that are going to help you to enforce the integrity of your database. For example, a constraint is a foreign key. It's a primary key. Or imagine that you want to put a validation that a column needs to be filled mandatory. You might need to put a constraint that is called not null, this one. Okay, so this constraint that you have here ensures that a column cannot have a null value. Okay, so this is going to request the user that that information is important. For example, imagine that you are trying to create your account in how we call this in okay, in PayPal. Okay, imagine that you want to create an account in PayPal, and it is requested that you need to have an email, right? That command needs to be not null. I mean, not the command, is that that column needs to be not null because you cannot have a PayPal account without an email. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are several constraints, and the first constraint that is important to understand is this one that is called not null. And here we have an example. When you are creating a table of students and the name is mandatory in that table, you're going to add this command not null, okay? And that's going to enforce that the value needs to be added in the table. Now we have different constraints. We have a constraint that is called unique. This is very similar to the primary key. So why this command is important or why this unique constraint is important? This constraint is important because it's going to create a validation in your database that, for example, an email needs to be unique. It doesn't make sense that we're going to have a database of users in our Facebook project that is going to have their emails repeated because that is not existing in the real life. The real life, all emails are unique, okay? So we can add that constraint so we can enforce that the data inside of our table is going to be accurate. Does this make sense? This one unique?
Yep.
Great. Now, primary key is the other constraint. The primary key is going to help you to identify the record in the table case. And it's very common, guys, that when you have primary keys, we are going to set up a serial data type. This means that it's going to be a number, an integer that is going to be auto-incremented by 1. So the first record, the ID is going to be 1, and so on until the end of that table. And we set up that as a serial data type, okay? And it's a primary key. Now, foreign keys, we learned that if we want to force in your projects the relationships, you need to have foreign keys, okay? And foreign keys are very important if you want to create that dependency. Okay, for example, you cannot have an enrollment if you don't have a student. Does this make sense? In this example that we have here, or imagine that you want to buy um, an invoice problem. Imagine that you want to buy something from Starbucks and the order does not contain products. So that's something that you need to identify with the foreign keys, okay? So we are creating relationships with the tables using foreign keys. Now, there is another constraint that is called default. The default is going to help you to identify or to create a default value in one column. So if you do not pass value in that column, that's going to grab the default value and it's going to be filled that way. And this is the last constraint that I'm going to be explaining is the constraint check. This constraint is going to help you to check a condition. So for example, a course here cannot have credits less than 0, okay? And this is a check constraint. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to be coding some SQL commands here right now in my Supabase account. And I am going to be using these constraints. Yeah, I'm going to create a new, let me see, a new script here. First, I will be removing these tables right now. Let's return the SQL editor. Okay, now in this script, I'm going to create a table right now. So the table is going to be the table called person. Okay, and this table is going to have a primary key. We're going to call this ID person. It's going to be a serial data type, and we're going to set up here the primary key. Now, we are going to add a name to the person because as person we need names, okay? But if we want to force that this name is going to be mandatory, you might need to add a constraint, not null. This way, we're going to ensure that we are going to pass a name. Now, let me put a date here as date of birth. Now, for the date of birth, we can add a default value. Imagine that you are not passing the date of birth. We can select that, we can set up that the date of birth is what we call right now or the current date. This is equivalent to asking to the database right now, what time is it with the hour and the time. And at the same time, we're grabbing the date and we're going to save that here. Or we can, yeah, this is the date. Like what's the date for today? Now, another constraint that we can add here. No, we're going to leave it this way right now. Okay. Now, let me show you guys that I will try to create a table. Okay, so I have a problem here. Oh, I missed the word default. The default value is going to be current date. Okay, now if we can access to our table editor, we will see right now the table of persons. Okay, so we have an empty table right now. I am going to try right now to insert data in the database or in the table. And here, guys, I am not going to pass right now the name. I'm just going to pass the date of birth. Now, if I try to hit this command in my database, you will see that I have an error here. And it says that the relationship person, in this case, the word relations representing the table person, okay, it's violating the not null constraint. And what is this constraint? It's this one. We are setting up that we cannot add a person without a name. So it is necessary that you need to pass a name. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember that when you were learning pathway number 2, you learned to do a validation in the form that you were trying to get data that is going to be required in your forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
this is something very similar. We are validating the information that we are saving in our database. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to put this name. And let me try to insert. Now, if we go to the database, guys, you see that I have my record created this way. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Great. Now, let me create another. I'm gonna drop the table right now. This is the command drop. I will give you an introduction right now because I will try to drop the table because I'm going to add a new column. Okay, now I will be recreating the table of persons. You will see that this table is not existing anymore here. Okay, so I am going to add another property or another column that is going to be called email. And this email is going to be a text and it's going to be unique. Okay, so if I try to create the table again, and I'm going to pass an email here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to create me. Now let's refresh this. Now I have this record, okay? Now let me create another record. But in this case, I will try to duplicate the email. I'm going to put a random date here. And I will be leaving my same email to this person, okay? Let me run the command here, and then you will see that the database is going to validate that this email is repeated. Do you see it? And the message that I'm receiving here is that I am trying to duplicate a key that needs to be unique. In this case, is the person email key. Does this make sense?
Yes.
And you see the message, it says that the email fernando.lopez at Codex Academy, it's already existing, okay? So this is a validation in our database. So we are making sure that our data is not gonna be garbage data, okay? So let me create a correct email for him. I will run this command. Now, I have this new record. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, something is wrong with my date. Let me see. No, I leave this date. Haha, it's a mistake. Okay, I'm going to update this date. The 80 person, it's the number 3. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we have the correct date. Let's see. Now, let's talk about another constraints that we learned. And as you see, we have tried to use the serial too, because we have an auto increment here. Let's see. We learned the default. Now we're going to understand what is this one check, okay? So imagine that you want to add a rule, a validation rule inside of this table of persons. And you want to validate that there are going to be only 2. Okay, imagine that you have this column, this one, gender. And you want to make sure that in this column, it's going to be a varchar. And it's going to be a varchar with 1 position. And you want to make sure that the only values that you want to accept here are going to be the F and the M. The F is representing female and the M is representing the male. Does this make sense? This validation, guys?
Yeah.
Are you using curly braces or is that parentheses?
No, this is
No, for
a
the
comment.
after the varchar.
Oh, these are parentheses because
Okay.
we are setting up right now that this is the position that the amount of positions that we are going to be saving in this column right now.
Okay.
This is a varchar one, and these are parentheses, okay? But we want to add a validation to this column, gender, and we want to save only the letter F and the letter M. Does this make sense, what I'm trying to explain right now?
Yeah.
Yes, it's like a placeholder, right?
Yes. I mean, it's not a placeholder because that's in a form, but you want to make sure that those are the only values that you want to save here, okay? So if you want to do that validation here, we're going to use that constraint that is called check, okay? So we need to make sure here that we're going to add a constraint check inside of a parenthesis here. As you see here in the, we need to put here a validation. So see that gender is going to be in F and M. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me recreate the table. Let me drop it first. Now let me create it again. Now I will be inserting me here in the table. I'm going to assign this character to me. Now to Batman or Bruce Wayne, I'm going to add a different character. I'm going to put the W of Wayne to him, okay? And you will see that here, this is going to be failing. Okay, let's see. Oh, I miss here the column gender. Sorry. Okay, now my data has been success inserted in the table. Now let's try to insert Bruce
You need
Wayne.
to add gender into that one too.
Oh yeah, thank you. Let me show you that this is not going to work. And as you see, it is failing. And the reason is because we are violating the constraint that is called person gender check, okay? And it's containing a W, okay? So if you want to make sure that this person is going to be inserted in the correct rule, we need to put here an M. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's read the table again. Let's see. And now we have this information in the table. So we are adding validation to the data that we are saving, okay? Now, let me insert another person. In this case, she's Wonder Woman, guys. Wonder Woman. So I'm going to use, and she is a female. Okay, so we are creating a rule that these are the only values that we are going to be accepting in the table. The gender M and F. Does this make sense?
Yep.
All right, okay, great. Now, let's continue. Let's continue with another example. And what I am going to try to explain you right now is how to create foreign keys using the correct syntax here in SQL. We have the table person right now, and we're going to create another person. Let me see. And in this case, the table is going to be table pet. Okay, so we're going to set up the table of pets. We're going to have an owner, and the owner is going to be the ID of the person, okay? So first we need to set up the primary key, ID pet, serial primary key. Then we're going to put a name to the pet, and we're going to leave it as a text value here. We're going to make sure that the pet is going to have a name. So we're going to set up not null here. And we're going to put here the animal. It's going to be a text to, not null. And the last parts that we're going to set up the owner, ID owner. So we know that this is going to be a person. So the data type, it's a serial. So we know that that's an integer. We're going to leave it this way. Then we're going to reference to the table of persons. And we're going to add inside of the parentheses the primary key of persons. In this case, it's the ID person. Does this make sense? This is how we
Yep.
set up a foreign key. Let me check if I am doing this in the correct way. Give me a second. References. I miss the S. Okay, now if you want to set up a primary key, a foreign key, guys, is the reserved word references, then the table, and then the primary key of the table. Okay, now let's create a new pet. Okay, so insert into pet. In this case, we're going to set up the name here, the animal, and the ID owner. Values are going to be, in this case, let's see, Bugs Bunny. Going to be a rabbit. And the owner, it's going to be, I'm going to be the owner. So my ID is number 1. I am going to insert another pet. Let me call it Flash. It's going to be a dog. And the owner is going to be Bruce Wayne. So the ID of Bruce Wayne is the ID number 3. And just 2 pets right now. Let's see. Let's try to insert them. So let me hit run here. Let me read the table of pets here. And as you see, we have the connection to the record ID number 1. And I am the person with the ID number 1. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Now let's see the connection with the ID number 3. In this case is Bruce Wayne. So if you want to create a foreign key, the way to do that is that in the table, you're going to put the reserved word references. Then you need to put the table that you want to point and the ID of that table, okay? So right now, let's continue with the slides. This is the practical part of the slides. Now, there is another statement that you have been playing around with this statement, and this is called the create statement. So we learned that if you want to create a table, you might need to put the words create table, and you need to put the column, the data types, and then the constraints. This is the way or the syntax, the general syntax that you want to apply of a table creation. Okay, now this is an example of how you can create a table, and this is the definition of the table, the students. Okay, and as you see, you have a primary key, a not null value for the name, an email that is going to be unique, and a major that is going to be not null. Okay, let's continue. Now, I have planned right now an activity for you. The idea is that you can create a table in Supabase that's going to be called departments. Try to do this, everything in SQL, okay? So try to create the table departments. You're going to add the column primary key. It's going to be the department name. Oh, I have a problem here. Give me a second. Department ID. Sorry, let's continue presenting. So this is going to be the primary key. It's going to be auto incremented. You're going to add a name to the to the department, and you're going to add a department head. This column needs to be not null, and it's going to represent the head of the department. So does this activity make sense right now, guys? I want you to try this by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give you 10 minutes, okay? If you finished previously, let me know. Okay, let's see. You have the primary key, the not null, and the department head's not null. That's all that you need to do. That's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone else has finished? Okay, let's continue with the next part of the class. Now we're going to learn what is the alter statement, okay? This statement is very important if you want to modify an existing table. So an example of how to modify a table, we have them here. For example, in this case, we are setting up that we are going to add a column that is going to be called the birth date. Do you remember that I was trying to, okay, let me show you. Let me show you. You remember that here, the first table just contained 3 elements, right? The person ID, the name, and the date of birth. And then
Yeah.
I added the email and the gender. So if I want to modify the table, I used to drop the table and then recreate the table. Now, that is not a good idea if you have a table that is in production, that you want to remove the content of the entire table. Maybe if you want just to add columns here, um, the command that you want to use is going to be the alter command. So for example, imagine that this table is going to be modified and we're going to add a new property here. Alter table, the table of pets. And we're going to add the column. And this column is going to be the date of birth of the pet. And the data type is going to be a date. So if you run this command now, this is going to add a new column to the table. You will see it without destroying the table and without recreating the table. Let me show you the table of pets right now. It's going to contain a new column that is the date of birth. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Great. So let's. Now, imagine that you want to remove a column from one table. So instead of adding a column, what you're going to do is that you're going to drop the column. So let me show you how to do that. So if you want to drop the column that is the date of birth for the pet, you need to alter the table, in this case, the table of pets, and instead of adding a column, it's going to be the opposite. Drop column. You need to put the name of the column that you want to remove from the table. Now, you're going to receive this message because it's a destructive operation. So it's like a warning. And if you refresh the table of pets here, you will see that the column is not existing anymore. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, great. So the syntax that you will try to do if you want to alter data and you want to add data, it's going to be the next one. Alter table, the name of the table. You're going to add a column, and then the column name, the data type. And if you want, you can add constraints to, for example, the not null, the check constraint, and so on. For the drop column, you might need to put alter table, drop column, and then the name of the table. Another thing that you can do is that you can change the data type of a table or of a column in this case. Remember that we have several data types, right? So let's see. Imagine that you want to try to change one data type. For example, you want to create a new column here. Let's see. I'm going to add a new column. And this is going to be a mistake. But you're going to add a new column. In this case, going to be a random number, like the lucky number of the pet. And in this case, you set up that the lucky number is going to be a text value, okay? So let me insert another pet. In this case, it's gonna be, see, can you give me a name for a dog? And then for a cat,
Jolly.
Lucky.
Lucky. For a cat, Lolly.
Spot.
For a cat, Spot. Okay. The owner in this case is gonna be Wonder Woman, and Batman's going to own Spot. And we're going to add a lucky number. In this case, I set up that this is a varchar. So we can save here the number 45 or the number 8. But you know that this is a mistake because you want to save here a number, not a text. Does this make sense? That I am doing this in purpose? Okay. Let me insert these pets. And let me read the table of pets here. And as you see, I have the number 45 and the number 8. But this data type is a text. So you know that this is a mistake. Do you understand the problem?
Yep.
Okay, so what you can do is that you can change the data type to a new data type. So you can do something like this. If you want to fix the problem, I'm going to copy this part of the instruction. And let's read the definition. Alter table, so you need to put the column and then alter column. Instead of adding the column, you're going to alter or modify the column, locking to a new data type. So we need to put the word type. And right now, this is going to be a numeric. Not be casted. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to use this. So we're going to add this instruction because we need to set up that this part. Okay, now if we read the table again, you will see that this is a data type that is numeric. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
But the content is the same one, 45 and 8. Okay, now, this is the way that you can alter columns. So you can modify a column, or you can add columns to the table, okay? Now let's continue presenting. And now this is the last part of the class. We're going to learn the drop statement. The drop statement is going to help you to drop the table. So once the table is dropped, guys, there is no way that you can restore that data. It's not that you have a recycle bin in your computer, I mean in your database, that you can restore data. So make sure that if you are using this drop command, you need to use it with caution, okay? And if you are in production environments, you need to do this, I mean, with supervision, with some, or you, I mean, if you're going to drop a table in production, guys, my recommendation, ask to your manager to approve that operation, because that could create a problem in the entire system. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to drop the table of departments. That is the one that you created right now. And then you're going to give me some scenarios where dropping the table might be necessary. So I'm going to give you uh, like 5 minutes or 3 minutes so you can drop the table department. I think this is going to take less than 5 minutes, but I will give you 5 minutes, and then think about some scenarios where you can drop this table in the real life. Okay, so great. Now, Joshua, can you give me like some scenarios where you need to drop a table?
Just when it's no longer being used.
Yeah, that could be. If that table is not being used anymore, you can drop it. Great. Does anyone has another idea why we can drop a table?
I'm thinking like when, like, let's say budget cuts or something like that, and a program no longer exists.
Yeah, that could be. So you want to reduce the budget of, I mean, you're talking about dropping a table because this the program does not exist anymore.
Correct.
That could be, yeah, it could be because maybe imagine that you have a form where you are filling data, but that form is not getting to be used anymore. You can drop the table. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Great, great, guys, great. So let's continue. Thank you for your participation. This is the drop statement, and I have a case study. Let me explain you something very important, guys. Every time that you have a case study of an e-commerce, of something that is going to represent an invoice, you're going to have a many-to-many relationship between the order, the content of the order, and the products. And imagine that the product is a service, so you're going to have a relationship with the service. Let me explain you this. I'm going to open an Excel here. Oh, no, this is not Excel. Numbers here. Let me create a mock-up of how an invoice is looking like. So when you are having an invoice, guys, imagine that you are printing something when you are buying it. You might have uh, the customer name, right? Do you agree?
Yeah.
You have a primary key for the invoice. You call them order ID. It's the same. The invoice is the order, guys. You might need to have a date where you are buying, and maybe you can have here an address. What else? Okay, imagine this
Total.
is the total. I'm gonna talk about the total later. Give me a second.
Okay.
Now, um, when you have an invoice, guys, you fill this information and the customer name, in this case, Joshua. The order ID is going to be the order 800. Um, Imagine it's today. the address, I'm just going to live here, New Jersey. Now this is like the header of the invoice, guys. Now, then we have something that is called the item. Then we call this the product, the quantity, subtotal. Okay, so what is going to happen here? That this invoice is going to contain, imagine that he's buying a MacBook M2. Imagine that he's buying two, right? And the subtotal is going to be, I mean, we can have here, let's see, instead of having the quantity, we're going to put the unit price, the quantity, and the subtotal. Okay, let me add some zoom here. The unit price is going to be $1,000 and he's buying two. So the subtotal is going to be 2,000. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, this field is a calculated field because as you see, you need to do an operation so you can calculate this, okay? Now, the second item, he's buying an iPhone 16. The unit price is going to be this one. The quantity is 1, and the subtotal contains the same operation. Now, there is a third item that he's buying. He's buying an iPad M3. Let's see. And the cost of this iPad is going to be $800. The quantity is 1, and the subtotal is going to be 800. And the last item he's going to be buying is some AirPods. The unit price is $200, and he's buying 6 because he wants to give to the entire class 1 AirPod. Okay, so what is the total amount that he is expending? So we need to do an operation of addition, right? And we need to sum all the column here. And as you see, this is the total invoice. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, these fields, the subtotal and the total amount, those fields are calculated because you need to do operations to know how much information. Imagine that you are saving here in the table the total amount, guys. That's not going to be a good design because that's a calculated field. So the invoice does not have a total amount as part of the order. Does this make sense? This is the table of orders. I mean, let me put this like in a different color. Let me see. This is the table of order, okay? Now, this is the table that contains the transactions, okay? And this is the many-to-many relationship, the bridge table, okay? In this table, you are going to have an ID. This is the ID, guys. As you see, it's auto-incremented. You see that, right?
Yeah.
But you have here the product ID instead of having the name of the product. So you might need to understand that you need to have a table of products that it's going to be somewhere else. But this table is the transactional table of the many-to-many relationship. So we're going to call this the transaction table, and we're going to color it in a different color. This is the transaction table. This is the order table, and you might need to have a table of products. So because we have foreign keys, these products needs to be existing somewhere. So you might need to have a table of products that is going to have an idea of the product. It's going to have a name for the product. It's going to have a price. And this price that you have here, this unit price, it's something that you're going to bring from this table. So the ID product one is going to be this one. Oh, let me just copy paste them. Uh, the the product number 2 going to be the iPhone 16, and so on. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so every time that you found a problem this way, that you are going to have an invoice where you want to sell something, imagine that you are trying to solve an e-commerce project. You might need to have uh, these 3 tables: the order table, the transactional table that we call it contains, and then we have the table of products. Okay, that's a common design if you want to solve a problem of an invoice. So in this part of the presentation, we have a study case for an e-commerce database. So the idea is that you can identify how many tables we need here, and you need to create the relationships between them. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I give you an idea of how to solve this. Okay, we need always 3 tables to identify the transaction of selling something. The order, the transactional table, and the product table. That's very important. The transactional table needs to have 2 foreign keys: the ID product foreign key and the order ID foreign key. Always remember that. Now, okay, now, guys, be my guest. Start working with this problem. Try to solve it in Supabase. And in the second part of the class, we're going to create our first RDS instance database in AWS in my organization, okay? So let me know when you finish this one. Oh, sorry, I stopped presenting. Do I am presenting right now? Sorry, I think I'm not presenting. Yeah, I am. Okay. Yeah, do you want to present?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Uh, Customers, yes. Products, orders. Now, you're missing the transactional table between the product and the order.
Hmm.
Yeah, the order needs to have the customer ID. That's fine, but not the product ID. You, I mean, a good name for that will be the detail of the order. So in that transactional table, you're going to have your own ID for the table, the ID of the order, and the ID of the product,
In
and additional the quantity. In the transaction table,
okay.
yeah, I mean, you can call it transaction or order detail. Yes, now here, you're going to place the ID of the transaction. Now, you're going to put the primary key of the order, order ID.
Yeah.
It's an
Is that it?
integer, int. It's int.
Oh, whoops.
Preferences. Now the table, it's orders. You're missing an S. Yeah, the column is just order
That's
ID.
orders.
Order ID.
Okay.
Okay, that's the first foreign key. The second one is going to be the product ID.
Okay.
Now you are missing the quantity. That's the only part that is missing.
Oh, just like a,
Quantity, yeah. Because that's gonna represent how many products are you buying in that transaction.
uh,
Integer or yeah, integer.
integer instead of numeric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both. Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the yeah, and that's all. But I don't know if you created the table of orders and you add a foreign key there that is not necessary.
Right
You
here.
might need to, yeah, I remember that you had there previously the product ID. So maybe you can eliminate that
Oh,
foreign key. If you
yeah.
want, you can go here, the table editor. Yeah, let's select the table of
Okay, I was gonna
orders.
try
This
to
one.
drop it.
No, no, no. Just edit the table. Edit, edit, edit.
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna try to
And
drop the
drop the
column out
column.
of the
Yeah,
table.
this one.
Order. Products.
And remove the this one.
Products ID. Oh. Oh, okay. Save
Yeah,
after hitting
save.
remove.
Yeah, great. So you're trying to insert products. It's fine.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
was trying to test inserting the products to see if it would show up to
yes,
make sure the table is working.
great. Now you can create an order to that customer, and then you can add a detail of products to the order. Okay.
Let's see. Insert into
The order number is the same as the order ID. It's the same one.
okay.
Yeah. So maybe you just need the customer ID here, but you might need to eliminate this column because it's not null. So go again and edit the table.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, the customer ID
The-
and the values.
Does that need to be
The ID number 1, I think. That's the only customer you have.
one?
Yeah.
Do I need to add the products or
No, no.
the
First, you
order?
need to create the order.
Oh, okay.
So you might need to select the query. You might, yeah, select, put a semicolon to separate the statement and select it. Now run it. Great. Now let's return to the table editor. And the order ID is this one. This is the name or the number of the order. Does this make sense?
Yes. Why
Okay, now
is this so tiny here?
I don't know. But you can drag here and you can,
Ah,
yeah, you can
okay.
move around the space. Now let's return to the query editor. Now here, once you have the order, you're going to add transactions to the order. Okay. So the order number 1. So you can put a new query here if you want. Remember to add the semicolon too.
Oh, in here or
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, in line number 30. Now in line number 32, you're going to start inserting transactions here. So insert into transaction. Now you are going to put the quantity of the product that you're going to be selling, the quantity, the order ID, and the product ID. Now let's go and add some values here. Okay, open the parentheses. So imagine that you want to sell 2 of these elements. Okay, so the quantity is going to be equal to 2. For some reason, I think that these product IDs are going to be number 1. So I just place number 1 here. No. 2 is
Oh.
the quantity.
Oh, okay.
The
Sorry.
second position is the product ID. Oh, sorry. In the second position is the order ID. And in the product ID, yeah, put 1, and this is representing the part. If you want to add
Okay.
another product separated by comma, and add another parenthesis, and imagine that
Okay,
you
and then
want
if I
to
wanted
add water.
mark.
So yeah, you're
Into
buying 2
1
waters,
and
product 2.
oh, okay. Yeah.
No,
So if
no,
I
that's
wanted,
fine. I mean, the order is
okay.
1. The quantity, that's fine too. If you are trying to buy 2 waters,
1
the
and then
order is 1,
product
and
2.
the
I kept
product's 2.
thinking the product was the first thing, not the quantity.
Ah, yeah. Okay, now add a semicolon to finish the statement and run it. Great. Now let's go to that transaction table. And let's see, click here in the arrow. So as you see, this is the order ID number 1 for the customer number 1. Now let's see the product that you are buying here. It's the bark. As you see, the quantity is 2. Now let's go to the other one. Yeah, here.
Oh, okay. A second.
And as you see, you are buying water. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Great, great. Good job. Now, does anyone else need help?
Thinking.
Raylon, you are welcome. Raylon, Jill, Justine, Ray, let me know if you need some support. Can you give me any feedback?
I just finished with my like diagram
Mhm.
and I'm working on the tables right now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Raylon. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Justine? If you don't have access to your mic, you can put a message in the diagram too. Excellent. Jill? Hey, Frey? Do you want to share something? Amy?
Yeah,
Tell me.
I keep getting an error saying Bob is not a person buying, but he is. I have created him a customer.
Oh, Okay, let's see. Do you want to present, please?
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So you have the customers table. Okay, you are trying to insert into the table of products here. This one, right? But I think that the name here is representing the name of the product, not the name of the customer. So for example, this is matching with this one, that's fine. The description is the one that you're missing. Because, I mean, as you see, the first column is the name, the second one is the description for the product, the third one is the price, and then the stock quantity. Does this make sense?
Yeah, I was thinking it was the name of the person buying the product.
Oh, that's going to be part of the order because the order is going to contain several products.
Okay, okay, now I understand what I was doing wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. Okay, let's see. So you have the name, price, stock one. Okay, now, the last, in line number 13, you have a comma there. My recommendation is that if that's the last record, put a semicolon. Semicolon.
Oh, there we go. You can hear me now. I was gonna put more, but I couldn't even get these ones to work. Nope.
Yeah, that one. Great. Now let me read. Still the problem, right?
Yeah.
Uh, oh, you are missing the word values. Okay, so let's go to line number 10 and press enter. Create a new line there. You're missing the word values. Okay, now try again to run it. Excellent. That's the way.
Mm,
You missed the keyword values. Okay, that was
okay.
the problem. Okay.
So what other do I need to make? Just the customer information?
Okay, you have the customer table,
Mhm,
you have the product table, that's fine.
mhm.
Now you need an order table and the detail of the order. Okay.
Okay.
In this case, in the detail of the order, you're going to add the primary key. Then you're going to add the frame key for the order and for the product. Okay.
Oh, so I'm missing the product in there? Okay.
Um, mm, I mean, let me show you a diagram for you. Okay, give me
Okay.
a second. Okay. Okay, so when you are trying to solve this problem, remember this is the customer, I mean this is the order table. And as you see, you're going to have like the customer ID, for example, the order ID, maybe the date when you are trying to buy. And this is a table. This is the table of order. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now you're going to have a table for products. I think you have that part.
Yeah.
Now, there is missing a table that is going to represent the detail of the order. And this is the transactional table. Let me add some columns here. That transactional table, imagine this is the table. It's going to have an ID of the detail or transaction, you can call it. Then you're going to have the ID of the order, the ID of the product, and the quantity. So this table is the one that's going to help you to create a relationship many to many. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So this is an important table. Without this table, you cannot create the invoice. And this is the entire invoice, this one, right? The order and then the detail of the order. Does this make sense?
Yeah. I
Okay.
have that table.
The detail table.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you have it, you can add transactions there. Okay.
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 Yeah, see, it's this one right here. Let me show you.
Okay.
Right here.
Let's see. Let's see. Order detail. Excellent. Order ID, product ID, quantity. The unit price, that unit price, I mean, that's part of the product. So you can remove that column from there.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's what you need to do there. Yeah, excellent.
Okay.
Guys, can you give me your attention, please?
We can barely hear you.
And now? Can you hear me?
You sound really, really far away.
Wait, give me a second.
You're on mute, look like.
I am testing my mic. I
Oh,
can
I got
me. Can you hear me, guys?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, now we can.
Okay, great, great. Okay, let's see. Okay, right now, guys, the idea is that we can start working on AWS. Okay, so give me a second. I will provide an AM user to everybody from my account, so you can have access to AWS without paying anything. Okay, give me a second.
What if we already have one?
You have one. Okay, if you have one, you might need to know that what we're going to do in the entire pathway is going to cost money. You want to
Okay.
spend the money by yourself?
No,
No, right.
I just was asking if
No, no problem. If you want to use your account, but I want to let you know that these exercises are going to cost money. So my
okay.
recommendation is that you can create, I mean, you can use the user that I will be providing for you, okay?
Okay.
Give me a second. No, 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 I'm using the different a different account. Give me a second. The idea is that you can work with this one. Okay. Okay, guys, so for this part of the class, give me a second, I need to put, it's very important that you can install an app in your cell phone that is called Google Authenticator, okay?
Okay.
So if you want, you can start installing in your cell phones this app because it will be necessary so you can access to my account. So there are several, I mean, there are a lot of services that we have here in AWS right now. And let me explain you that in AWS it's very important that you need to select the region where you are going to be working. In this case, for everybody, we're going to be using North Virginia. This one, US is 1, okay? And the first service that I will be teaching in these pathways is this one, RDS and Aurora. Okay, RDS is representing the words relation database service. Okay, it's a database that is going to be relation. So here in this space, in this option, I can create databases. Okay, but previously to explain you how to do that, I will be giving you access to my account. So there is another service that is called IAM. This service is the one that is important, so I can create a user for you. And imagine that you're going to be managing this kind of accounts in the real life, guys. You might need to create users for the persons that are going to be working with you. Okay, so this is a service that is global. As you see, I cannot select a region here. It's a global service, and the way to create a user is that you go to this option. Let me explain you that right now I have a user group that is called Codex Students. This group is going to contain some permissions, and the permission that I have provided to you right now is this one. Let me explain that you are going to have access to a service that is called CloudFront, CloudWatch, EC2, RDS, Route 53, and S3. These are the services that I will be explaining in this pathway, and you will know the purpose of every service here, and we're going to be practicing and deploying some projects here online. Okay, so as you might need to understand, I have created a user group, and these are the permissions that I provide to the user group. Now, I will be creating users, and you're going to be uh, uh, registered under this group. Okay, does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very important that I need to set up here that I'm going to create um, IAM user, okay? And I will be providing a custom password. Now, why this is important? Because I need to have a control of your passwords if you forgot them, okay? But the first user that I will be creating is gonna be, let's see, the students here. Let's see, the first one's gonna be Raylon. So it's gonna be this way, Raylon hyphen Joseph. Okay. Now your password for everybody, the password is going to be the same one. It's going to be hello 2025. Um, let me see. Show password. Give me a second. Hello 2025 at Codex. And let's try this. And you're going to be using the same password for everybody. Okay. So
Okay.
let me click here. The next step. And then I'm going to assign you to this group. Okay. Now I will be clicking here in next. And I will be creating the user. And okay, I'm gonna share right now the URL so you can log in into my account. So this is the URL. I'm placing this URL here in the chat. If you want, you can visit it. Your username is this one. And the password is gonna be the same one for everybody. Okay, so can you try to access to AWS, please?
Yes. One moment.
I see.
Okay. I'm gonna create another Let's see, you haven't viewed downloaded. Let's continue. Okay, I will create a new user.
It worked.
It works.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, excellent. Now, the next student is going to be Jill. What is your last name, Jill? Jill, are you there? Okay. The next one's going to be Frey. Frey Carpio. Okay. The same password. Let me check the password. Now I'm going to click next here. You're going to be in the Codex of Students. Now your user is created right now. Okay. So Frey, can you access to the user? I mean to the URL. This is your username and this is your password. Please let me know if it is working. Now I will be creating Jill. Let me see her last name. I want to look this in the attendance. Jill Hoffman. Now let me explain you guys that these users very important for you in the entire pathway. Okay. So if you don't save this, you're going to miss the part about AWS, okay? Okay, now Jill, your user has been created. Can you try to access, please, to the console? Let me know if it is working. Frey, you too. Now I'm gonna create the next one. I will be creating Tammy. The same password. Remember, it's very important that you install in your cell phones Google Authenticator right now, okay? You will see why this is important. Okay, Tammy, can you try to access to your account? I mean, to the account with your username?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, Now the next one, let's see. Justine. Okay, this is your
My name
password.
has an E at the end.
Sorry. Here,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, please try to access to the account. And the last one is Joshua, right?
Yep.
If someone is missing, let me know, please.
I'm in.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Joshua, please try to access to the account.
Oh, I clicked it too early.
Okay, if you have access to the project, to AWS, now I want you to log out because we are going to set up your device. If you don't have this device set it up in your cell phones, guys, you won't be
Can you
having
repeat
access.
the password? I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure. This is the password. I mean, this is a global password for everybody.
In the chat, I think.
I put it in the chat. Hello 25. I mean, hello 2025 at Codex. Okay. It's the same password for everybody right now. Now, I am going to provide a new access layer. So I'm going to enter to every username. So we're going to start with you, Joshua. Do you have installed right now Google Authenticator?
On my phone?
Yeah, please. For everybody, please install that app in your cell
Oh.
phones.
I guess I could. I don't really like to because I lose my stuff all the time. So I'll probably end up getting locked out of something if I do.
But it's important, this app, because I'm going to
Yeah,
add an
It's on.
MFA controller.
I
I'm
downloaded
gonna download it.
I have it too.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, excellent. Okay, so the first one that is going to do this process is going to be Joshua. So Joshua, I'm going to be presenting here an QR code. I'm going to put a name here. Okay, and I'm going to click next. Now I'm going to show a QR.
It's a
And you
Google
need-
Authenticator?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you need to open this QR. I mean, you need to open you need to hit the plus button in the Google Authenticator, and you're going to scan this QR code.
You ready?
Okay, now pass me the first MFA code that is going to be appearing there.
238.
238.
Is it the whole 6 digits or the first
Yeah,
three?
the six.
All right, 073.
Okay, now you're going to provide me a second code that is going to be refreshed.
That might have been the second code. So unless this is this
Okay,
gonna expire when the time runs out? No, there's the second one. 319. I guess third
319,
one. 585.
585, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to add the MFA code. Now, what is going to happen? That right now, if you want to access to my account, Joshua, you might need to have your cell phone in your hand. And please, can you try to access to the account and present to everybody what's going to be presented?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
Let's move this.
This is part of the security that you are going to be learning right now, okay? How to add security. Now, as you see, he is getting requested this MFA code that Google Authenticator is providing to him. Without this code, no one is going to access the account without this code. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, why this is important? Let me explain you that someone can steal your credentials, and if that person steals the credential, this person can create virtual machines in your account, and they can use data machines so they can create Bitcoins and create a lot of stuff that is going to process the income in the account. Does this make sense? I mean, it's going to generate a cost. It's going to be an income for AWS, but for you, it's going to be a cost. So we are adding this MFA authentication so you can have a second security step. The first step is the password and the second one is the MFA. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to show you again how to do that process. Thank you, Joshua. I will present. First, you need to go to the user section. I have set up that part with Joshua. Now I'm going to do this with Raylon. So Raylon,
Mhm.
please open the Google Authenticator. And
Okay.
now we go to the security credentials. Now the second option that says here, multi-factor authentication, you're going to add an MFA device. We need to provide a name to this device. And you need to select the second option, Authenticator app. Now we're going to click next here. And Raylon, you need to scan this code.
Okay, I have it.
Okay, tell me the first MFA code, please.
350419.
419. Okay, now you're going to provide me the second MFA code.
695405.
Okay, now if you try to log into the account, you will be requested this MFA code. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Great. Now try to access to the account too. Now
Okay.
I'm going to set up this MFA authentication now with Justine. Okay, Justine, please open your Google Authenticator.
It's my birthday.
Great. Now I am going to provide a name
Mhm.
and please scan this QR code. Let me know when you scan it.
It's supposed to open up in a passwords app.
Yeah, and you're going to give me a code.
Hold on, it's saying choose a password to add it to.
Yeah, you need to hit a plus button
Okay.
and then you're going to scan this code.
From the authentic. Okay, good. Hold on. That's what I'm doing wrong because I went. So from the authenticator app, do the plus and then scan that code.
Mhm.
Okay. Should be 194. Oh no, I'm sorry. It just changed 010871.
So much.
Okay, now you're going to pass me a second.
It hasn't changed yet. Give me
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
few
don't
minutes.
worry. We need to wait 30 seconds. Don't worry.
Find other phone. Okay, the next one is 910595.
Okay, thank you. Now, if you try to log in again to the account, you are going to be requested this MFA code, okay? Now, let's do the process with another user. This case, let me see, Tammy.
I'm here.
Okay, you're going to scan this QR. Please share me the first MFA code.
986460.
Okay, now we need to do a waiting time. You're going to pass me the second. Does it change?
565848. Yeah, just
5, 8,
565848.
Hmm. Okay, I need that you can pass me again new codes. You pass me the first one right now.
101 343.
3, 4, 3. Now you're going to pass me the next one.
Okay, 19 seconds.
Yeah.
Six five two 340.
6, 5, 2,
340.
3, 4, 0.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, now you can log in into the account using the MFA authentication too. Okay, now let's go. Let's try this now with Jill. Oh, she's using right now her cell phone, right? Jill, you're in the cell phone, right? Yeah. Okay, Jill. So I'm going to remove your user because this process needs to be, I mean, it's important to have this process so I can have a security layer in my account. So I will be removing your username right now, but when you have access to your computer, we're going to set up your username here. Okay? Jill, so I'm going to remove you. Okay, let's see. Now, who else is missing? Give me a second. Yeah, this one. Frey. Frey is missing. Okay, Frey, we're going to do the process with you. Okay, can you scan the code right now? Well, she's not here. Oh, she is. Frey, are you there?
I'm in.
Okay. Can you scan this code, please?
That was me, Tammy. That's what I was in.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, sir. Great. Okay, Frey, if I don't have any feedback, I'm going to assume that you are not here. Okay, so I'm going to remove the username. Uh, okay. Do I am missing anyone, guys? All right. Okay, so let's start creating our first database in AWS. This is going to be your first cloud database created by yourself. So please pay attention to the steps. And I have a video for you guys that it's in the Google Drive. If you access to this folder, let me show you the drive. November cohort, week number 2. I have a video prepared for you guys that it is this one, how to create an RDS instance in AWS. Okay, it's going to have like the same content that I'm going to be explaining right now. So first, if you want to create a new database, what you need to do here is that you're going to search for the service that is called RDS. Okay, it's this one. And what you need to do is that you're going to create a new database here. I'm going to click this option. And as you see here, guys, let me explain you that these are the engines that we have availability to create here in AWS. Now, it's very important to understand that the ones that are free or almost free are Postgres and MySQL because they are open source. MariaDB too, but SQL Server, it's kind of free if you're using the Express Edition. That is going to give you 10 gigabytes of a database. But if you want to increase in the size of that database, you might need to pay more. I mean, you might need to start paying to AWS more money. So the free database that we're going to learn to use here is PostgreSQL. Now, let me explain you that Aurora, it's like Postgres at the same time, but it has been modified by by AWS, and they have added a lot of features that are like super, super cool. But let me explain you that today we're going to use Postgres, and in the entire class, we will be continue using Postgres, okay? So we're going to select the Postgres engine here. And then once we select the Postgres engine, we're going to select the version that we're going to be installing in our database. And my recommendation, try to use always the latest version, and it is this one right now. This part, we're going to disable it. We're not going to enable an extended support because this can request extra money in our invoice. So we're going to avoid selecting this part. Now, there are some templates that can help you to understand what's going on here. There is a template that is for production, there is a template for development, and then there is the free tier. Let me explain you that if you are using production in Postgres, what you're going to have is that you're going to have 3 databases. These 2 databases are going to be read replicas. So you can read the information in different databases, and that's going to give you velocity while you're reading information from the database. Okay, and it's going to give you a primary database that is going to be this one, but these read replicas are going to help you to create reading queries that could help in the performance of your app. Now, there is another environment here that is this one. This is creating a second database, so you can have like a backup that is going to be saving information in the 2 motors or in the 2 engines, and you are going to have duplicity of the information into databases, okay? So these are the 2 ways that you can deploy a production project. You can have a multi-reading replica, or you can have a replica of the information that is going to be a standby. What's the purpose of having a second replica here? Imagine that something's going to fail in the primary database. That replica is going to be put it by itself as the primary database. So that's the idea of having like a backup. Does this make sense, guys?
Yeah.
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 So these are like the 2 ways that you can run in production. And then there is the single AC databases that you're going to just run one database in and nothing else. Okay, this is a single database. Now, let me explain you that we are going to use the free tier option. And the only available way to run in the free tier option is this one, that we're going to have one database. We're not going to have replicas. So this is just for testing. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now let's go to the setting part. And here you're going to create the name of the database. So my recommendation is that you can put your username. In this case, it's going to be this one. This is my username here, -codex. Okay. This is like an identifier of the database. Okay. Now, it's very important that you have a master username. And this one is the one that is called Postgres. And my recommendation is that you can have your own master password too. So when you in the time that you are going to be creating your own database, try to select a password that you need to remember, because this password cannot be updated. So if you forgot the password, you're going to forget how to access to the database. Does this make sense? So it's very important that you need to save this password. So I'm going to use a password that I use commonly. Let's see. Let's see. This one. And as you see, I am receiving here that the strength of my password is strong right now. Okay, so uh, let me repeat the password. Okay. Now, another thing here is that we're going to select the capacity of our database. In this case, we can select the two options that we can have as a free tier is the T3 micro and the T4 micro. We're going to have 1 gigabyte of RAM. Okay, so both are equivalent, but this one is newest. So I'm going to select this one. And here we are going to select the um, the the block where we are going to be saving the information. So there are several options, and the option that is recommended for free tier is this one. These three options, they are costing a lot more, and this one that is magnetic is very slow. So this is creating like a block where you are going to be saving information. So I'm going to select this one, general purpose. I'm going to leave it this way, and the size of our database is going to be 20 gigabytes. If you put more than 20 gigabytes, that's going to cost money. And there's no possibility that we can have a database less than 20 gigabytes. So this is like the limit, lowest limit. So we're going to leave it this way. Now, in additional configuration, we're going to disable this part of auto scaling. What does this mean? Imagine that your database has gone, I mean, you have filled a lot of information in your database, and your database is, I mean, the amount of your information is more than 20 gigabytes. If you enable this, the database is going to grow in more gigabytes, but that's going to cost money because we are using a free tier. We're going to disable this part. Now, it comes the connectivity options. In this case, we're going to select right now the IPv4, and we're going to leave that we're not going to connect this database with a EC2 instance because we're going to have an open database that is going to be connected in our own local computers. Okay, so we're going to leave this option selected, and I mean, we can select this to dual stack or IPv4. I prefer this one. Now you need to select the network where you are going to deploy the database. We're going to select the default network that we have on AWS. Don't worry about it. And we're going to select this subnet group, and we're going to select that the database is going to be public. So in this case, your local computer is going to access to the database, okay? Now, there is something very important that is called a security group. This security group, guys, is going to help you to open the port so you can connect to the database. So we're going to create a new VPC security group. In my case, I will call this Codex. If you want, you can use the same security group, Codex students. Okay. And no preference here. We're going to select the certificate that is going to be this one for default. And in the additional configuration, you will see that here it's going to appear a port. This port is the port that we're going to open later in our security group. Please remember, this is the port 5432. Okay, this is the port that is very important for Postgres. Now, once we have this, guys, we're going to leave this option of the password authentication. And We're going to select this part this way because those are free tiers. And once we have all done this, we have something that is called like a summary of the cost that this is going to cost for us. As you see here, RDS is part of the free tier. So your first 12 months, you're going to have access to 750 hours in RDS. This is equivalent to 1 month. The 20 gigabytes are free, and the 20 gigabytes of backup are free. So this cost is going to be 0 right now. So now I'm going to create the database. Now you will see, guys, that this database has a status. So this status is creating. If you want to access to the dashboard of the databases, you need to enter here. Okay, you will see that the database right now is getting created. If you want to check the progress, my recommendation is that you can click here. You will see that this is going to be creating. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to enter here to the definition of the database, and there is the option about the security and connectivity here. I think we have the security group here, and we're going to click here and we're going to modify the port that we're going to open. So this is opening a new service that is, I mean, it's not a service, it's a component of this service that is security groups. So I'm going to enter to the security group here, and I'm going to edit the inbound rules. As you see right now, it says here, I'm going to remove this rule and I'm going to add a new rule. What I am going to do is that I'm going to add a TCP port that is 5432, and I'm going to give access to any IP. So any IP can connect to my database in IPv4. I'm going to add another rule with the same port in IPv6. Okay. And once we have this, we're going to save the rules. Now we're going to return to RDS. Now let's go to the databases again. The database is getting connected. Okay, while this is processing, I'm going to open right now VS Code. Now, with VS Code, I'm going to show you how to connect to the database. Okay, let me click this. So, in this option about the extensions, we're going to install an extension that is called DB Client. So we're going to use the second option, that is this one. This is a database client, so you can connect to your database, okay? I'm going to install this connection, this extension. I'm gonna trust it. Now you will see two new icons. This is an icon for a database that could be in AWS, and this is another one for NoSQL databases. These are SQL databases and NoSQL databases, okay? So I'm going to select this one because we're using a SQL database, and I'm going to create a new connection. So we need to put a name for the connection here. I'm gonna put here Codex F. Lopez. Now I need to select here the engine. In this case, the engine is Postgres, the host. So where do I have the host? So if you enter to the database definition, there is an endpoint that is here. You see it? You see this endpoint? Guys?
Yes.
Okay, so you might
Yeah.
need to copy this endpoint of your own database, and you're going to place it here. The port is going to be 5432. You're going to leave it there. the database. I don't remember the name of the database, so I will leave Postgres there. Let's see. This is okay. Now, let me put here the password. Then I need to add this SSL. Okay, let's see. Once we have this, guys, we're going to test the connection, but the connection is going to be successful if the database is online. Right now, it's not online. Creating a backup right now. So we need to do a waiting time. Oh, this is the name of the database. So I can put it here. Okay. Right now, the database is available. You see the status? It's available. So I'm going to try to connect to the database. Yeah. So here I have access to the database. You see it, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's see. This is the database. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a query inside of this database, the Postgres database. And I'm going to create a new, I mean, if you want, you can create a schema, but you can create a table here too. It's not a problem. Let's see. Add a query here. You can put a name, my first query. Okay, so here you are going to be saving your queries, and we'll be creating right now a table. Let me show you. Create table person. ID person. This is going to be a serial. Primary key. Name. Varchar, I mean, it could be a text. Not null. And date birth. Okay, let me create the table. First, you can just click here where it says run. And if you access here, guys, you will see the new table person. You see it?
Yes.
Now I have the definition of the table here. We're going to stop using Supabase, and from now on, we're going to be accessing to this database this way. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so guys, let me explain you that the class is finished. And this video about how to do the database, guys, is placed in the November cohort folder. So I'm going to provide you an assignment where I'm going to be requesting screenshots about the creation of the database of your own. So have everybody a good night. See you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.